Hello everyone, this is Renier, and today we'll see French defense, the Tarrasch variation, played recently by Petrosian against Mirosnichenko in a tournament this year. Okay, game was quite interesting. Let's see it. E4, E6, D4, D5, knight D2. Now black played the Guimard variation, that is knight C6. Well, this is a unusual move and at this level especially, but this I think is not at all a bad variation. After knight F3, which is perhaps the only move on C3, which is also possible, black is ready to play E6, E5. So knight F3, now black plays knight F6, E5, knight D7. Okay, this is the first critical position of the opening. Now white can choose between several lines like bishop E2, knight B3, C3, and I think C3 is the move that most books recommend, but from my own experience, it is not that great for an advantage. I believe that the move knight B3 deserves some serious attention, and also the move C4, I find it interesting here. However, there is another move that I have to show you that seems quite interesting. That is bishop D3. Okay, it's not new or anything like that, but perhaps it doesn't have the place in the theory that it deserves. Now black has two alternatives after this move, and all the strong players seem to prefer knight b4. The alternative is f6, which is the main idea of the Guimard variation, to quickly undermine the center by playing f6, then recapture with the queen, play bishop d6, and eventually e6, e5. And if black achieves this, he usually gets very good play. Okay, but this will be the subject of another video, because now white continues with knight g5 and a very complicated position arises. Today we're going to look only at knight b4. Okay, knight b4, white only has one move, that is to retreat the bishop to e2, and now black plays c5, c3, and knight c6. If you look at this position, it's the same type of position that I have analyzed in other videos, only that the bishop is on e2 is one of the main lines on the Tarrasch variation, in which white plays with knight gf3, only that the bishop, instead of being on f1 in this position, is already on e2, and white has an extra move. This changes things, because as you will see, with the bishop on d3, white can never play knight b3 and moves like that, defending the center, but with the bishop on e2 he can. And one of the backwards of the bishop on e2 is that it's not as active as it would be on d3, and there isn't many kingside ideas with an attack on that diagonal. We'll see that in the next variations. For example, after castle, black chose to play a5. But before looking at a5, which is a thematic move, we will look at the alternatives. First of all, queen b6, which is a normal move in the French. Okay, now white has the move knight b3, and you can see this is the advantage of having the bishop on e2 rather than on d3. And now if black plays c4, well, this is never a good move. Knight bd2 followed by b3, and white will be better. And c takes d4, c takes d4, a5. White can react by playing a4, bishop e7, and now bishop g5 with a slight advantage, but lasting advantage, I think. The position black, and black doesn't have many reactions, is typical Tarrasch variation. With the center well defended, it looks good for white. Okay, a5 is another possibility, and now white could play a4, and probably black will continue with queen c7 with the idea of b6 and bishop b7. Okay, the position is playable for black right here, but white, I think, has a slightly better position still with the space advantage. He can play bishop f4, bishop e3, and then try to improve the position of the knight on b3. Let's say bring it to the king side, knight c1, knight d3, knight f4. Alright, but this is typical French play. And the alternative in this position after a5 is to take on c5. Now, if black takes on c5, white can play bishop e3, and after a4, knight bd4. Okay, this position is not that great. White only has a small advantage, but it's pleasant to play. What I mean is that white is not winning by getting into this position, is just some advantage. Black should just play bishop e7, I think, or even knight takes d4 is possible, but anyway, it's a position to play for both sides. I have had this position in Blitz tournaments, and I have to say it's not that easy to find a clear advantage. White is better, white is solid, but that's it. For instance, black cannot take the pawn because after knight b5, white has a terrific attack if rook a5, knight d4, and here black is in trouble. Okay, so after d takes on c5, black played in again queen c7 and bishop f4, defending e5, knight takes on c5, knight bd4, bishop d7, and now knight b5, queen b6, and bishop e3. Okay, this happened in the game Geller, one of my favorite players, against Baganian in 1975. And now, okay, here white has a clear advantage because there is a clear plan. Black cannot take on e5 because after knight takes on e5, bishop takes b5, white captures, and queen takes b5. White has the move queen f3, attacking f7, and on f6 or f5, white will play queen h5, winning the game. So black went queen d8, and now terrific move c4, opening the position. Shows how powerful white's position is. D takes c4, bishop takes c4, queen b8, queen e2, a4, rook fd1, knight a5, and now Geller played the move b4, which is very strong. If pawn takes on b3, white captures back, and then the knight on a5 cannot move because rook a8 and knight c7 check, and white is still threatening b4. So black had to take c4, and after queen takes c4, play knight a6 to avoid knight c7 check. And now he met an unpleasant surprise. Rook takes c7, king takes c7, rook d1, king e8, knight d6, bishop takes, pawn takes, and after queen d8 white played knight g5, and here black resigns, because still I don't think this is the right moment to resign. Definitely black is close to lost, but I don't know, there should be some other moves. I also think that knight e5 was a lot better with queen b5 threat and queen takes b7. Okay, but after knight g5 the same threat is there, and also d7 check, so that's why black resigned. Okay, it's a good game to see. I didn't know this game until I studied this variation, and it surprised me that Geller, one of the leading experts in all the theory like King's Indian, Queen's Gambit with black, shows this variation in the Tarrasch Guimard. So something to consider. Okay, if not queen b6, what else? Let's say bishop e7. It's funny that this position could happen also by another move order, in case that black plays bishop e7 on move 3 after knight d2, then white plays knight gf3, black plays knight f6, e5, knight d7, c3, c5, bishop e2, knight c6, castle. Only that in that position is black's turn, and here is white's move, so you have an extra move. And okay, how to make a use of that? Then I guess rook e1 after castle, simply bishop d3 should be fine. If queen b6 now, d takes on c5 followed by bishop c2. White has again the usual small advantage. If c takes d4, c takes d4. If queen b6, you have knight b3 because there is no more c4. Okay, that is if bishop e7. Another possible move is c takes d4, and now f6. If knight b6, then white should continue with knight b3 followed by bishop f4. This is the right move. And if f6, I think this is the best move. White could just play rook e1, or he can also take on f6, and after knight takes on f6, play b3. This move has never been played, and the idea is bishop b2, bishop d3, and knight e5. Okay, of course there are other possible moves instead of b3, that like rook e1 with the idea of knight f1, or even knight b3 with the idea of bishop g5, bishop h4, and bishop g3. Okay, finally black can also play f6 immediately. And now I think this is the move that deserves more attention, because if white plays it takes on f6, then maybe black can capture here, and after rook e1 play bishop d6, and it's not clear what white should do in this position. Because okay, black's plan is never capturing on d4, and then just play castle, bishop d7, and I don't know exactly what is the best plan for white. So on f6, perhaps on this move order, maybe white can play rook e1, and if pawn takes on e5, knight takes on e5. This is a good idea. Taking on e5 is always dangerous, no? Because bishop h5 check, and okay, with the king in the center, black may have some problems. So if c takes d4, c takes d4, and then the same idea. Only when the bishop is on e7, white will be ready to take on f6. Or no, he can also play bishop d3. That's just a matter of one's taste. Okay, let's go back to the game. Finally, there is g6 in this position, but it doesn't make much sense at this point. I think white could just play something like knight b3 or even rook e1. a5, this is to meet knight b3 eventually with a4, so black wants to play queen b6, attacking d4, and when you play knight b3, he goes a4. Okay. On a5, white played a4, and now black played bishop e7. Alternative is to take on d4 immediately, and if knight b6, then this was played in a game by, I don't remember the names. In this position I think white played knight b3, but I think that knight b1 makes more sense, with the plan of knight c3 or knight a3 and knight b5 followed by b3, controlling the square c4, and the knight on b5 is a good piece there. So bishop e7, and now Petrosian played the usual knight b1. Okay, this is a common idea when black plays a5 and white plays a4. The knight goes to b1 in order to get to b5. Castle, knight a3, c takes d4, c takes d4, and now black played knight b4. Black also have the square b4 in exchange for the square b5. And I think there is also possible to play f6. Then if after pawn takes, knight b5, bishop d7, white as usual is a little better. After bishop d3, but I don't know, I suspect that black's position is still playable. I don't know, maybe knight b4 with the idea of capturing on b5 and play bishop d6 perhaps. Well, e6 will be weak in that case, but I don't know. Of course I prefer white in this position. Okay, knight b4, keeping the structure solid, and now white played this move that I really like, bishop f4. Okay, the idea is to play queen d2 and rook fc1 with the center secure, the bishop on f4, f6 is more complicated for black, and in the event of knight b6, white will play b3 and the knight on b6 will be out of play. So this may be the reason why black chose to play knight b8 now, because he has no good squares for the knight on d7 and he has to develop the bishop from c8 too. So he plays knight b8, queen d2, knight to c6, white continues with rook c1, and now knight a7. Okay, the knight on c6 was doing nothing, so the knight goes to control the square b5, and then the bishop on d7 and the rook goes to c8 in order to simplify the pieces. But white found a way to start an attack by playing rook c3, switching the rook along the third rank to the king side, and bishop d7. Now white went knight g5. I suspect that if white plays b3, then rook c8, and followed by queen b, taking on c3, queen b8, and bringing the other rook to c8, I would still prefer white's position because of the space advantage, but it wouldn't be so clear anymore if black plays so many pieces. So in this position white went knight g5, which is a very instructive way of attacking, because black definitely cannot take on g5, because after bishop takes g5 there are many ideas like bishop f6, rook g3, so that would be suicidal. And most important, h6 is simply met with knight back to f3, and now white has a clear motive on the king side. After bishop takes on a4, he simply takes on h6 with a strong attack. Another important thing is that if black captures on a4 immediately, white has rook h3, and after h6, knight f3, and there is nothing to stop bishop takes on h6 now. Even h5, white could capture on h5, but even stronger is bishop h6 immediately, with the same threat of taking on h5. Okay, in any case, white has a very strong attack. Okay, I mean, after bishop takes on a4, simply these two. Okay, in that game, Mirosnichenko played f6, and after e takes on f6, if bishop takes on f6, white simply goes back to f3, and he has this square e5. Still, I think this was better than the game. Black could play knight c6 now, try to control that square and try to hold. It's a worse position, but still, let's say, defendable, I think. Instead, rook takes on f6, and now white played rook g3, which I think perhaps is a good move, because it puts black in trouble, but I'm not sure that it's the best move in the position. Perhaps something like bishop c7, and after queen e8, b3, for example. Now white is taking on a5, and also he has good control on e5. Black has almost no counterplay. I must also say that if queen f8, instead white can play knight b5, because now rook takes on f2 is simply met by knight f3, so it's not dangerous. So I think this perhaps is the strongest move, and you will see why. Rook g3 was played, and it's a good move. It has lots of ideas, but I think black can do better now. In the game, black took on a4, which is perhaps the decisive mistake. Instead, black could try queen f8, and after bishop e5, rook g6. Okay, not rook takes on f2, because white wins by playing knight e6. So rook g6. Now if knight f3, black plays queen f5 with an eye on this diagonal h7 b1. Not easy for white to improve his attack now. So I don't think knight f3 is an option. If f4, then knight to c6, and knight takes on a5, of course. And if h4, then this is the most complicated, because white wants to play bishop h5, winning the exchange. He can play knight c6 and bishop h5. Black has the resource knight takes on e5, d takes on e5, and now rook h6. Okay, the problem with this move is that after rook f3, the queen has no squares to go. But then I thought that rook takes on h5, rook takes on f8, and rook takes on f8, this position is not clear at all. Black is capturing on h4, black is playing bishop c5, white has the knight on a3 that is not getting into play anytime soon. On knight f3 also, black captures bishop takes on h4, and with this structure solid, I mean black has everything defended, I think it's a difficult position to convert the advantage. This is why I think that rook g3 perhaps was not the strongest. If we compare the positions, bishop c7, queen e8, b3, it looks like white is still in control of the situation, even though there isn't much attack, but okay, it can come later. On knight c6 there is always knight b5, and rook g3 is always possible. But in the game, after queen f8, everything seems so forced. You have to play bishop e5, and then after rook g6, then what to do? If knight f3, queen f5, and then if h4, knight c6, and the bishop on e5 is already being taken. So bishop h5, you have to be consequent with the previous moves, and then knight takes, pawn takes, rook h6. Black's position doesn't look bad at all. Rook f3 takes, and rook takes. Alright, bishop takes on a4, a mistake, and now this move is strongly met with bishop e5. Okay, now if black moves the rook to g6, white has knight takes on e6, which attacks the queen, and also if black captures on e6, white takes g7 with a winning position. So black plays bishop d7, leaving the rook on f6, and now white plays a move that I like it a lot, and it's bishop d3, ignoring the exchange because that would not be enough to win. After bishop f6, bishop takes, all of black problems disappear. But bishop d3 attacks h7, and it's not easy to defend it. In case of knight takes d3, queen takes, and if rook g6, white still plays knight h7, rook g3, queen g3, and white wins. So h6 was played, and now he went knight h7. Alright, the alternative is to give check first, then after king f8 to bring back the bishop to b1, barricading the h7 square. Okay, if you take g5, queen takes g5, white should have a winning attack. And if knight c6, white plays knight a7, king g8. The position is very similar, only that white doesn't have the bishop on d3, and now he can trade the knight on c2 for the knight on b4. And if knight takes on c2, queen c2, and he's ready to get to h7. Okay, but knight h7 is equally strong. The rook cannot move because of the queen takes on h6. So king h8, knight takes on f6, bishop takes, and now knight c2. White is up an exchange and also has the better position. Now black should continue with knight takes on d3, queen takes d3, and knight b5. He would be down an exchange, but still he's in the game. It's not that easy to win this. Of course, white is better. Maybe rook e1 with the idea of rook e3 and rook e3 to f3 is a plan. But in the game he played knight b to c6, which is very passive and allows white to play rook e1. And now after knight takes d4 is always met with rook g6, so it's out of the question. Queen f8 was the move played. Instead, knight c8 tried to reorganize the pieces to the king's side. White plays knight e3, and if queen takes d4, knight g4, followed by knight takes on h6. So knight d6, knight g4, queen g5. Okay, trading queens is not a good idea, so f4, queen h4, and now knight e5, threatening knight g6 check. Knight takes, d takes on e5, and white has winning position at this point. Okay, I guess this is clear, no need to explain this. So after rook e1, black played queen f8, rook e3, knight e7, rook f3, knight f5, and now rook h3. Okay, threatening g4. Black gets out of the pin, but now bishop takes on f5, e takes on f5, allows the finish with rook takes on h6. Black cannot take on h6 because after queen takes, if queen h7, queen f6, queen g7, check, and rook g3, white wins. Or if king g8, rook g3 check, king f7, queen g6, queen g8 mate. Okay, so after rook h6, king g8 forced, rook g6, bishop e8, rook g5, bishop d7, rook g3, and here Mirosnichenko resigns. Alright everyone, thanks for watching, and don't forget to leave your comments on the forum. Thank you.